let's talk a little bit about the 4 phases of the secret SOCC principles for success. And no, it has nothing to do with socks you wear on your feet. So stay tuned.
Welcome to the Principles for Smart Living show with Conrad L. Here we talk about 5 things vitally important to smart living, which we call the Life Mastery Matrix. Those 5 things are faith, growth, excellence, contribution, and self-care. Faith constitutes your spiritual journey and relationship with God. Growth is your attitude to keep learning and becoming a better person. Excellence is your approach to doing quality work in everything you put out in the world. Contribution is about sharing your gifts and talents to be a blessing to others and to unlock more of your God-given capacity and capabilities. And self-care is you taking care of your body, mind, and spirit, and also getting quiet rest to refresh and renew yourself regularly. Let's join Conrad.
I'm your host, Conrad L. Jones, author and founder of PurposeUnleashed.com. Now, let's get started. If this is your first time joining me on the show, I want to say welcome and thanks for you sharing your time with me. In the previous episode, we talked about the 4 keys for building a better you and what it means to be better today than you were yesterday. In today's episode, let's talk a little bit about the 4 phases of the secret SOCC principles for success. And no, it has nothing to do with the socks that you wear on your feet. So let's jump in. Now, I realize that when you heard about this thing that's called the SOCC principle, that you immediately began to think of a piece of clothing that you wear on your feet for a comfortable feel inside your shoes, right? But hey, we're not going to talk about literal socks today. We're talking about a life success principle that God personally handed to Joshua with the instructions that if he followed his advice, Joshua would have good success all the days of his life. So we are talking about the SOCC principle. It's just pronounced, or I pronounce it as SOCC. Okay, you still with me so far? Good. Let's get going. When we take a deeper look at the instructions that God gave to Joshua concerning a successful life, you immediately realize that it has a lot to do with developing specific character traits that become the engines that drive forward momentum in your life and keep you in a place of good success. There are 4 specific principles mentioned in the passage that I'm going to highlight. Here's what the passage says. It says, "Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you should meditate therein day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and you shall have good success." That comes from the Bible's book, Joshua chapter 1, verses 7 to 8. So here are the 4 principles. Principle number 1 is the principle of strength, S. Principle number 2 is the principle of observation, O. Principle number 3 is the principle of courage, C. And principle number 4 is the principle of continual practice, C. So let's start with the first one, the principle of strength. Mahatma Gandhi said this. He said that strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. Now, I believe that Gandhi was onto something there when he made this statement, because when you take a look at the background of the text that we just read, you learn that the word strong in that passage has 2 specific meanings. It means 1, to be of firm resolve, and 2, to be determined to do something. So God was literally telling Joshua that if he would have unstoppable success in his life, one of the character traits that he would have to acquire is that of internal strength, or a firm determination to get things done. When you look at what separates those who are successful from those who are miserable failures in life, you realize that it usually comes down to one word, and that one word is usually determination. People who make a firm resolve to do or to become what God has put in their hearts, and who choose to keep moving forward even in the face of negative criticism and setbacks, they tend to always win. They always come out ahead simply because they possess the heart of a champion. It is important that you develop a firm resolve and a determined mindset to follow God's plan for you. Now, I realize, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, that this is not always easy, but the rewards for your life will literally blow your mind. So, wherever you want to go in life and whatever you want to accomplish, you will need strength of character. You will need a firm resolve and determination. Let's move on. The next is the principle of observation. God told Joshua to observe. To observe means a number of things, but here's two that I like. One, it means to keep constant watch of something. And two, it means to see in a manner that causes you to learn something. So in essence, God was telling Joshua to pay careful attention to what God said to do and how God wanted it to be done, because true success is really found in following the purpose and the plan of God for your life. Observation is an interesting thing because you can learn so much, you can understand so much, and sometimes even figure out what is not being said. For example, I walked into a meeting one day and started listening to the conversation. But at the same time, I began observing and watching people's reactions. And all of a sudden, I started to get this feeling that their actions were not really connecting to what they were saying. By observing, I became even more alert. And before you knew it, red flags started to go off in my mind. The end result was that I made a decision not to support the actions of the group because my observations showed that they were not honest and truthful people. It actually was a scam. The power of observation is connected to wisdom, because by using your observation, sometimes it really helps you not to make decisions that you later regret. God told Joshua this was also another character trait that he needed for success in his life, and it is something that you and I need also. But God wasn't finished yet. The next thing he talked about was the principle of courage. Courage is a higher form of bravery that comes from an inborn quality of mind or spirit, because it is literally a willingness to move forward in spite of feeling afraid. So what was God telling Joshua? He was saying to Joshua, listen, I know that you are human, and humans experience fear, especially when they are moving into unknown territory. But I need you to trust me and trust that I will give you instructions to follow. It doesn't matter what the situation looks like. I'm responsible for ensuring that you have a successful outcome. Now, it is so awesome and powerful that even in the midst of our times of difficulties and challenges and struggles, when we put our trust, we put our faith and our confidence in God and his plan for our lives, that he gently pushes us forward towards our goals and dreams, even if we are a little frightened or scared. Courage doesn't mean that you're not scared when attempting new things. It simply means that you choose to move forward even in the face of your fears. And this is how those who are successful in life truly live. This is something that we must all develop as part of our character. Then the final principle is the principle of continual practice. God told Joshua something extremely important, and I want to make sure you don't miss it. So I'll tell you now. He wanted Joshua to keep his laws or his word constantly in his mouth, to think about it, to meditate on it, to keep it constantly before him. But why did God ask him to do this? You see, because God knows that his words or his word is truth, and his word brings life. It brings comfort, and it creates a mindset in his people that gives them the ability to succeed where others have tried and failed. So he was telling Joshua to keep this life tool, this guide map, always with him. But more interestingly, he told him to use continual practice to cause the word to become a part of his life. Now, what makes this interesting is that even in our world today, if you will become really good at doing anything, it requires continual practice or continual use of your gifts, your talents, your skills. So, continual practice is a principle that really does produce success. Many times, it is easy to try something once and walk away, giving up believing that it doesn't work, when the truth is that we may have simply tried to work in the wrong way. If you will ever see lasting success and fulfillment in your life, you gotta choose never to give up, never to quit on your dreams. Continually work on your ideas, refine them, enhance them, and keep persevering until they become your reality. Hey, listen, God is on your side. You literally can't fail. In the next upcoming episode, we'll talk about the power of a teaspoon and its connection to your life purpose. It sounds odd, right? But stay tuned. This is going to be interesting.
Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this inspirational session and that it added value to you. If this episode has been a blessing to you and you want to download it, share it to bless your friends, or grab the other free resources we have available for you, visit us at purposeunleashed.com/principles podcast and have a great day.